Today we're going to talk about sudo. All right, so sudo and SU are ways of assuming root when you're not really root. So I'm logged in as me normally on my Debian system, right? And what I want to do is I want to SU minus sign space root. So I do want to become root because I do want to check some things. I have to type in my root password. And then you'll see that I moved from Dan at Debian to root at Debian. You also notice the color change and everything else to kind of help you understand. Now, when I first installed this, first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to do a check and basically do an update. And there are two ways of doing it. I could do APT update, so I could do that. Aptitude not found, or I could do apt-get update. So these two ways of doing this, and what will end up happening is that one of these will work, and an apt-get update worked, and it went through and checked everything to make sure that everything was up to date and ready to go, right? And that's a big one, especially when you're just pulling an image down off of the internet, and you're doing this. It's just going ahead and making sure that your system is up to date, and then you can just go do all the other things that you want to go do. And later on, when we kind of go through this, we'll show you how to install packages, install other kinds of software and everything else. The main reason for having this virtual machine on your box so that you've got it in your virtual Oracle Virtual Manager is basically what you want to do is if you're going to test a thing, you want to be able to have something to work with, right? You don't want to just go into the cloud and start poking around. That's a waste of time and that's a waste of money. You really want to have something local to practice on. And having it as a local Debian, a local CentOS, any one of those is actually going to work really, really well. And it doesn't really matter if you keep the desktop or not. When you're working on the server, you won't. You want to get really used to working here in the terminal window, right? So you'll always see me here as we kind of go through this process of working on our command list. But the big one, again, is working the command window. So make sure you know how to get to that, right? If you're curious as to what that is, you can type to search here, and you're looking for terminal, and you can actually bring up a fresh new terminal, or either your older one, or it will show up here, shows you the date and time, how long you've been up and running. And then when you want to run a process, and you're going to SU to root, when you're done, you can just exit out, and again, it will take you there, and it will take you back to where you're at on that whole process and into your directory. So that's exactly how you get to root. That's exactly how you do all the things that you would normally do, especially for updates and everything else. So apt-get update, great command to remember, and we'll go from there. So we'll be crossing over a lot of the Linux essentials as we go through this. So do stick with me. It's going to be a fun process of learning how to use Linux. You all see me in the next lecture. Thanks. Have a good night.